Guten Tag, meine Panzerkommandanten, und willkommen to the world of tanks. It is the Long Khan here once again to bring you more tales of daring do. Achtung! Raus und schnell! I apologize for my horrible German accent. I just get all antsy in the pantsy! Anyway, I have for you another one of my favorite Tier 9 medium tanks, the German E50, the Oberpanther. This tank is an absolute wrecking ball. It is effectively an armored down E75 that weighs in excess of 60 tons, is capable of going about 65 kilometers an hour, and will also ram the living hell out of anything you bear down on it with. This tank is brutal. The upper glacis is a whopping 150 millimeters thick, and while the lower glacis isn't as robust as the E75s or angled quite as steeply, it can be hidden behind corners and under rubble to give your front end a practically impervious facade against enemy tanks, especially in a side scrape. This is one of the few medium tanks that I feel completely comfortable going into town with the heavies and holding down corners and side scraping. It is an absolute beast in terms of armor. What it's not so good at is brawling. Like the Panther before it and the Panther II, it has very, very good straight line mobility, but is incredibly slow to traverse. I think we're looking at, let's see here, only 26 degrees of traverse speed, and I have off-road driving and clutch braking on my crew, which speed it up, a little bit. But even with those, it's still not good in a brawl. If you get close range with, say, a T-54, you're probably going to be in trouble if he's able to get around behind you. Unless you know how to duel with fast-moving, high-traversing medium tanks. The key is to back yourself up into a wall so they can't get behind you. But you didn't hear that from me. Additionally, this tank is capable of equipping a couple of really great guns. The first of which we're looking at here is the L100 88mm, which is completely unique to the E50, and I absolutely love it for that. This gun will more emphasize this tank's role as a support sniper, much like the Panther and the Panther II, kind of hanging back a little bit behind the flank and laying down a continuous stream of suppressing fire to just pester people to death. The other gun we have the option of using is the L52 105mm, which might give you the stones to go roll up and be a heavy support tank and stay close to those heavies in town and use the armor and hit people for that 390 average. I think they're both great, and I've got a couple of games here that I think will dictate that fact. The first of which we're going to look at is El Haluf. In the interest of time, I'm just going to fast forward the combat a little bit to where things start to get interesting. The first thing you're going to notice is how fast this E50 is downhill. And even once I hit this water down here on El Haluf, I'm still clipping over 40 kilometers an hour up until about this point, where it really starts to get deep. But it was late at night on the servers, and there wasn't a whole lot of people on, so I got into one of these limited matches, which I absolutely love, as they're a little bit more tactical than a full 15 versus 15. It can be both to your advantage and work against you, as a lot of people don't understand the team aspect of this game. But in these kinds of battles, stick with your team and support them, because it's the team that sticks together that ends up winning probably 85% of the time. Now, there was a bunch of medium tanks that initially stormed off the hill, including the E50's big brother, the E50M, the old Mudcat. So I decided to stick with them. Ooh, there's a big old hit into that T-30 up there from across the hill. Anyway, sorry, I get distracted by awesome shots. All those medium tanks that ran down the hill with me are pushing up the curvy little mountain road off to the south of the map. I decide to push the flank in the interest of the theme of the video, where to coral, and get these guys caught in a pincer. Now, these tanks that are hunkered down up here have no idea that I'm here whatsoever, and I'm going to exploit that to the best of my abilities. This 105 is capable of putting out some serious damage seriously quick. If you can get yourself in a good position, you can just be absolutely murderous. Got this E100 here. Oh no, an E5 just rolled in. Oh, he's got no idea I'm here yet, but he's going to as soon as I hit him in the ass. Oh, there he is. Yep, he knows I'm here now. Kind of a low roll there, but I got a pretty large roll into that E100 with my first shot. Oh, another hit into the side of the E5. Now I want to try to bait him into shooting my upper glacis by backing up. Oh, but he manages to get through my side and take my tracks off. It's my third shot into his lower glacis. He's going to have a shot here pretty quick. I'm going to try to bait him. Oh, he blows my tracks off. God, you got to love the armor in this tank. It's so strong. Didn't take any more damage, fortunately, from him. Now the T-30's dead, the E5 is dead. We haven't lost anyone. There's some heavy tanks that have pushed through the north flank against our spawn, but they're way on the other side of the map. I can't even think about that right now. Here we have a Conqueror. He's still using the 20-pounder A-type barrel, but he's fully upgraded aside from that. That's the fully upgraded turret. I managed to get one through his lower glacis and damage his ammo rack, which is what you always want to try to do if you can shoot at the lower glacis of a British tank, because that's where their ammo racks live. He's dead now, and all we've got here is this E100. Now I switched to APCR at this point because I want to guarantee that my shots are going to go in, and I want to help this E50M out as well because he's got the attention of this E100. I free aim here into the side of the E100's turret, a low roll in, but it's still a pretty hefty hit, just slightly below average. I don't need APCR at this point in time, but I just, you know, better safe than sorry, really. Get a glancing blow off the back of his turret, unfortunately, but I do manage to get one straight through his spaced armor on the side of his tank and get the killing blow there, which is nice. Now, those tanks are incredibly tough. You want to try to hit them on their side armor as perpendicular as you can. All of that armor over their tracks is spaced, and it will just chew up your shots. And if you're shooting heat at the side, forget about it. You're not going to go through. Fast forward a little bit here in pursuit of the final tank on the enemy team, which is a T-54E1, a very dangerous American autoloader at Tier 9. I get a decent ram into him, not particularly great. If I hadn't shot him, he wouldn't have known I was there, and I could have hit him full bore. He would have been stopped, maybe. And if I'd been able to do that, I probably would have hit him in excess of 500 hit points, just absolutely mangled him. But coupled with the several shots I got into him, he just couldn't hold up to that, and didn't even manage to put any fire into me at all. All in all, it was a pretty monster game. Dropped in excess of 4,000 damage, picked up a high caliber, and further pushed up my climb towards my third mark of excellence on my E50. At this point, it looks like I'm in excess of 89%, which is nice, and definitely managed to have a huge impact on the outcome of that game. Now, I've got a little bit of a clip here from a game I played on Malnovka utilizing the L188. It wasn't a particularly magnificent game, but I was playing to the strengths that this gun affords you as more of a sniper, and it's a pretty good map for sniping. So I just wanted to show off a couple of shots that I got here with it. Namely, this one coming up here in about 3 seconds on this Centurion 7-1. In excess of 450 meters, folks. Blind fired over terrain while he was hull down, and he's dead. Are you kidding me? Yes. German guns are laser beams. 0.3 accuracy, 0.31. Absolutely indomitable. Not a particularly good game, though. A lot of assists, not a lot of alpha. Just wanted to show off that shot. Now, the last game I have here is from Mountain Pass. Once again, I'm using the 88mm L100. And I fast-forwarded once again to the point of contact with the enemy team. Now I'm looking here at a mostly stock E50. My first shot through him damages his ammo rack, which is always awesome, so he's now down a repair kit, and if he isn't, he's got a damaged ammo rack. And I'm trying to side scrape with him, but my ass is sticking out a little bit too far off this rock that I'm trying to side scrape off of, so I take a couple of shots, unfortunately. You can see there I angle in a little bit more so, and his last shot goes straight off my side armor. I don't know what I was shooting at there. He's dead. Look at the accuracy of this gun. IS-8, dead. Straight through the commander's cupola. Hey, there's my friend Diz. And this asshole T-32 driver that was bumping into me the whole time. Folks, don't be that guy that's sitting behind your friendly tanks, keeping them from moving their tanks around, especially whenever they're engaged with enemy tanks. Don't be that guy. Move someplace else and get to a different position. Don't clutter up with your team. This seems like a good time as any to talk about the E50's lack of gun depression. It's only about -5 degrees over the front of the tank, which is not good. It's about as bad as a T-54, or really most of the Russian mediums. But it's -7 degrees over the side of the hull. Now you can utilize this when coming over tops of hills to bait people to shoot at your upper glacis while utilizing your gun depression over the side of your tank to get shots into people. It's tricky, and you do need to be careful about your side armor, but if you can master it, you won't have any trouble with your gun depression whatsoever. Now, what I love about this L188 in terms of its DPM is that it gets over 9 rounds a minute. That's the equivalent of a T62A. And you can just look at this accuracy here into that Coppola shot there. Now I got the side of the E75 turret, and that's just going to go through every single time. He's dead. Fantastic. We got, what, 8 penetrations down at this point in time and a kill. Always a good thing. Now I get a little antsy in the pantsy here at the end of this game. The enemy team is just evaporating, which is always unfortunate. Look at this shot on the move here into this T-32. Just like a stone off of a pond surface, straight into his side. There's an IS-3 up on the hill sniping, because that's what IS-3s are best at, you know. And I get a little anxious, and I want to get up there after him, and I fail to check the corners here, and there's a Tier 10 Russian medium, a T-62A. No idea I'm here. He comes to life, and I get a ram into him. A sizable ram, but not as much as I was hoping for. And unfortunately, he's got support in the form of that IS-3 on the hill, and then another heavy tank. And you can just see here the E-50 struggling to maneuver in the close range combat that I'm now in. I managed to ram the T-62's track off and back up from him, but there's just nothing I can do at this point in time, and I'm dead. I got ahead of my cavalry, and, you know, I only have myself to blame for that, so, you know. Could have done more damage, but still not a terrible game. And I felt that it showcased the accuracy of this gun pretty adequately. Here's yet another game I played with the L188, a pretty good result, in which I got a Confederate as well, but, you know. I don't know, maybe the 105 is just the way to go. I probably played 4 or 5 games using the long 88, and this was the best result that I got, which isn't bad by any means, but the 105 is just capable of dropping it a lot quicker. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Happy hunting out there. And that tank that's shooting at you that you can't see is probably me.